Hey guys, what's going on? Hope everybody had a good 4th of July weekend and are ready to get settled and get into some more tech reviews. Today I have the Sony TX100V digital camera on the hot seat for review. Now, it seems that Sony is a pretty hard company to miss recently, with coverage on the PlayStation Vita or their PlayStation 3 headset or the whole PSN outage. They're a hard company to miss. Back in January, Sony announced a batch of CyberShot cameras, including the TX100V. The TX100V brings a few firsts for Sony. It's the first digital camera to have 1080p 60 frames per second HD video, and it's the first CyberShot to have an OLED screen, which also happens to be a touchscreen. I've been testing the TX100V for the past 2 months, and if you want to see all the punch this little guy has under the hood, stick past the break. The TX100V is priced at $380 and is one of the slimmest cameras you can get. It follows a design which I haven't been a fan of in the past, but I'm coming around to it. Instead of the conventional extruding lens function, the TX100V uses a sliding door to reveal the lens for shooting. This has its advantages and disadvantages. This design makes the camera more pocket-friendly. You don't have the dangers of your lens jamming from either accidentally turning on the camera in your pocket or, God forbid, a drop. In the past, the build quality of these sliding doors on these cameras have been pretty poor and has been prone to user-created damage. I've seen dirt causing gritty movement of the door, or bends in the door, or even worse. To my surprise, the quality of the TX100V's door is substantially better than the past cameras of the same design. The door had a good thickness compared to the others and feels like it can stand the test of time. The other design aspect I've been wary of in the past is the TX100V's touchscreen interface. The TX100V is the first CyberShot to include an OLED screen, clocking in at 3.5 inches in 1229K resolution. Again, in the past, I haven't been fond of touchscreen interfaces. Using cameras like the Nikon S4000, I found touchscreen cameras to have a pretty clunky user interface, and I could get to the same menu a lot faster with buttons over a touchscreen. The TX100V has been an improvement over the other touchscreen cameras I've used, but I will still prefer my buttons. Thanks to the high-resolution screen, the image preview and menu icons are crystal clear. Navigating around the menu is actually simple enough, and you could do some pretty neat post-processing to your photos thanks to the touchscreen. Sony includes a small stylus in order to use its paint software for your taken photos. My big issue with the TX100V is that the responsiveness of the touchscreen wasn't perfect. It can't really compare to the responsiveness of a smartphone, but in most cases you should have success when tapping the menu icons. As I've mentioned before, the design of the TX100V allows for easy pocketing. I was very pleased to see how well it handled traveling in my pocket. You always expect something with a big screen to get scratched easily, but the TX100V's OLED display does not exhibit this, a welcome change from my testing of the Zoom Q3 HD, which did suffer some scuffs and scratches on its LCD screen from travel. With the TX100V, I didn't have to worry about applying a protective film over the screen, saving me from less responsiveness or loss of image quality of that OLED screen, which was really beautiful. It even trumps my Canon T1i's 3-inch 920K dot screen. Moving on to the images, the TX100V packs a ton of consumer-friendly features for your photo-taking enjoyment. I can only say consumer because the TX100V lacks manual control. I always love a camera that allows you to go into aperture priority, shutter speed priority, or full-on manual mode, as it can allow somebody to segue into real photography by learning the concepts of shutter speed, aperture, and ISO. You don't get this with this camera. For all intents and purposes, the TX100V is a point-and-shoot. It is designed to be easily pocketed, taken out, powered on, and taking a picture of a group of friends or something else. It features many scene modes for different scenes, who'da thunk, as well as some unique modes. The TX100V allows you to take 3D images with its one lens through the use of multiple photos and software magic. Unfortunately, how you can view these kinds of pictures is less than magical. You can view them through special software on your computer, through your PlayStation 3, or what I simply did was showing my friends on the camera itself after the image was taken. It's a nice little feature to show at a party when the cameras are out, but it's pretty gimmicky and I don't really see that these kinds of modes will occupy most of the photos that you're going to be taking on this camera. I was a big fan of the panoramic sweep mode, which is more universally viewable. Even with moving subjects in the frame, the pictures come out pretty nice with minimal noticeable stitching. I also loved the HDR mode, which allows you to capture great dynamic images without fussing with Photoshop. For low light performance, the TX100V has a limited f3.5 aperture, but thanks to features like the superior auto mode, the camera can take a series of 6 pictures and layer them together for a nice looking photo, even at night. Another feature which makes up for the 3.5 aperture is the blurred background mode, which is a macro mode of sorts. You do need to be close to the subject for the camera to be able to blur the background, but when it works, it looks very nice. As far as ISO goes, your only manual option is turning on the high ISO mode, which kicks the camera to 1600, where yes, there is going to be noise, which is to be expected at that level on a point and shoot, but other than that, setting ISO is up to the camera. If you look at some of the night photos that I took using the superior auto mode, when looking at the EXIF information on these images, the ISO was clocked at 3200, and at that level, the noise handling here was pretty impressive. Getting into video, as I stated, the TX100V is part of the batch of the first 60 frames per second 1080p cameras. On paper, it doesn't get better than this. However, when using the video mode with the TX100V, there are things that I liked and disliked. First and foremost, the quality of the picture itself is great. It's amazing for a point and shoot camera. The color and sharpness of this camera exceeds what you'd find with SD camcorders, obviously, as well as HD flip camcorders. The motion can be a bit shaky when shot handheld. It is a smaller lens and camera itself, so it's understandable. But in the past, I've regarded video with point and shoots with a better than nothing kind of mindset. It seems I will have to change this thanks to the TX100V. The TX100V also allows you to optically zoom when shooting video, something I've wished that Canon would have added to their S95 or G12 cameras. The zoom is smooth and silent, so you won't have to worry about any motor sounds intruding your video clips. However, what I didn't like about the video mode is that you have to be mindful of how you hold the camera. You want to make sure that your fingers don't cover the microphones, but you also want to make sure that they don't cover the lens, and then when you want to zoom, it's that really small nub on the top which sort of, changes your grip on it. What I also didn't like about the video mode is that while this camera can achieve 60 frames per second, it's really the only option you get. The video choices in the menu system are pretty convoluted, and you have to kind of do some digging to find out exactly what you're shooting in. There are 4 different modes that you can shoot in. You get 1440 by 1080 60i. You have two 1920 by 1080 60i's. I think they're just at different bit rates. Then you have the 1920 by 1080 60p. I'm always a fan of choice, and the option to shoot at 720p or 24 frames per second would have been really appreciated. As for audio quality, it is on par with other microphones of camcorders and other point and shoots. The TX100V has stereo microphones which deliver okay sound. As you can see in this clip, there is some distortion with the audio when recording louder sources, so if your plan for this camera is concert videos, I don't know how this will fare. So with everything said, is the TX100V a worthwhile purchase at $380? Well, it all depends on what your uses are. At the price, one might be inclined to spend a bit more for a DSLR, and I've even seen the Sony A230L, which is a DSLR, for $350 on Walmart a couple of months back. But each product is for a different person. Not everybody wants to lug around a DSLR. If you are serious about photography or you want to learn the fundamentals, you might be disappointed in the TX100V's lack of manual controls. If you're looking for a camera that can be easily transported, can take photos easily, and are looking for high quality photos at that ease of use, as well as different modes to choose from, the TX100V is a fantastic choice. The TX100V is an attractive camera with a bright, beautiful touchscreen and many shooting modes to keep you and your friends entertained. If you've got the deep pockets, I would not overlook this camera if I were you. So that'll wrap up my review on the Sony TX100V digital camera. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment. And if you really like this video, hit the favorite button up top. And if you want to stay in touch with me and keep up to date on all my reviews, be sure to check out my new Facebook page at facebook.com/mlgsteggy, as well as my Twitter, twitter.com/mlgsteggy. Once again, this is Steggy with the TX100V video review, and until my next video, I will catch you guys later.